Hello! Can we please talk about UFC Fight Night Kansas City, headlined by Max Holloway and Arnold Allen? Huge fight night this. It's got some very good fights on the card. Now this is the Casuals Guide, brought to you by myself, Burt Green. This is the Burt Locker. The Casuals Guide is effectively just a fun, fast look through the entire fight card. I cover every single fight, give you a little bit of information on every single fighter so that you get the most out of watching the whole card on Saturday night, so that you just really get the most out of your viewing of the UFC from Kansas City this Saturday night. So let's get cracking. So we're going to start off in the women's bantamweights. Jocelyn Edwards versus Lucy Pudilova. Now 5'8" plus 5'8" with 2.5-inch reach for Edwards. Edwards, she's got good long striking. She's got a BJJ purple belt. She's 3-2 in the UFC, all decisions. So she either loses by decision or she wins by decision. She's solid if unspectacular. Pudilova, she's a Muay Thai specialist from Czechoslovakia. Well, she's Czech anyway. Is it Czech Republic now? I forget which way it is. So I'm I'm not a geography expert, but it's either the Czech or the Czech Republic. They changed at some point anyway. She's her second UFC stint. She got cut after 4 straight losses in 2020. She looks like she's got the life beaten out of her, honestly. She says she's 28, but she looks at least 40. She's got a salty record. She did get a TKO in her first fight back though in the UFC. I would say that Edwards gets an unspectacular decision in that one. And you've got Aaron Phillips taking on Gaston Bolanos in the bantamweight division. 5'9", plays 5'7". No idea on the reach because the stat guys were clearly taking the day off that day. Now Phillips is a Taekwondo guy. His second stint in the UFC. He's got no wins in the UFC yet, despite having 2 tenures in there. He did fight guys like Jack Shaw though. Jack Shaw is absolutely elite. So he's had no fights since 2020. Gaston Bolanos, the Dream Killer. Now, it wasn't hard to find his record. Like the UFC stat guys have got his record of 0-0. He's 6-3, right? Now, I understand if the UFC guys aren't counting some weird, obscure Russian promotions that are less than legitimate, but he's been fighting in Bellator, man. Come on, that's a legitimate organisation. Not as good as the UFC, but still, come on, you have to count those fights, guys. Anyway, he's 6-3. Look, he's got good leg kicks. He's got savage leg kicks, actually, and he's got good hands. All 6 of his wins are by knockout. So I'm going to go with Bolanos, the Dream Killer, to get the knockout. Bruna Brasil taking on Denise Gomez. This is women's strawweights. 5'6", plays 5'2". Presumably Brazil has the reach as well, although it doesn't actually specify her reach. Now Bruna Brasil is the most Brazilian fighter because her name is Brasil. Okay, she's well-rounded. I presume she knows some submissions because she's from Brazil. Her name is Brasil and she's an MMA fighter. She must have submissions. Come on. Gomez, also Brazilian, but not as Brazilian as Brazil, because her name is not Brasil. Sorry, I'm flogging a dead horse there. Anyway, she has got the weathered Nogueira style, features. She's got the very weathered Brazilian appearance. Anyway, she seems very serious. She's probably quite hard, honestly. I'm going to say Brasil is bigger and she's maybe more well-rounded, so I'm going to take the Brazilian Brasil by submission. Lando Venata taking on Daniel Zellhuber. 155 pounds, lightweight division. 5'9", plays 6'1", with a 4.5-inch reach for Zellhuber. That may be telling. Now, Venata, he's got very good boxing, and he's been around a fair bit, actually. He's a former NCAA wrestler as well. He's tough to take down. He's got a BJJ brown belt. He's just pretty well-rounded. He's pretty slick, honestly. We saw him fight Bobby Green those 2 times, and some very, very good fights. I'd recommend going back and watching those. They're good. Zellhuber, I don't know very well at all. They've got a decent KO rate though, 7 out of 12 he's got by KO. He got a calf slicer in Lux Fight League, so I don't know how good the opposition was there to tap out to a calf slicer with 15 seconds left, because a calf slicer, whilst being incredibly painful, it's not like a fight-ending submission, not really. Like, it's not going to break a bone, it's not going to take you out. So if you're tapping with 15 seconds left to go there, I have to question the level of competition there. I like Lando here. He's very solid everywhere. He's very quick as well. He's good, very quick in and out. So I don't think the reach is going to be too telling. But hey, look, Zellhuber, he may have an opportunity. I think Venata's fought the better competition. I like him to get the win here. Julian Robertson taking on Piera Rodriguez in the 115-pound ladies division. You've got 5'5" playing 5'3" with half an inch reach for Rodriguez. Now, Robertson is the Canadian. She's very slick with submissions, and she has been in the UFC since 2017, although she lost to Cavillo, and I'm not big on Cavillo, so I don't know what that says about her level, really. Anyway, anytime she comes up against somebody half good, she does tend to lose. That is the problem with the Canadian there. Rodriguez, she's 9-0, unbeaten, 5-9 wins by knockout. She's good on the feet. I can't see that much in the way of grappling. Now, Robertson, if she's smart, she's going to take advantage of her massive grappling experience, and she's going to take her to the ground and, drown her with that shocking red hair and get the submission. So Robertson by submission in that one. Zach Cummins taking on Ed Herman in the light heavyweight division. Zach Cummins has gone up. Crikey. So 6 foot plays 6'2" with a 2-inch reach for Herman. Now, Cummins is a veteran by this point, 10 years in the UFC. He's not fought since 2020 though, and he used to fight at 185 pounds. I'm not sure if this is his first fight at 205. He never seemed like the biggest 185er. He is a submission expert, second dan black belt under Pachenia. So that's pretty good, Herman, he's not a German, he is an American. And he has beaten some pretty good names. Burt, Pat Cummins, he fights at light heavyweight. He's also been around the UFC since 2013, BJJ black belt as well. Now, Herman seems like the naturally larger man here. Their skill sets are similar, so I'm going to go with the bigger guy. I'm going to take Herman by TKO. Brandon Royval versus Matheus Nicolau. 5'9", plays 5'6" with 2-inch reach for Royval. Now, Royval is called Raw Dog. I'm interested to see if Bruce Buffer actually calls that out or not. Now, he is a BJJ black belt. He's got 9 submissions. He seems very large for 125. I wonder what the weight cut is like for him, because I'm sure he didn't fight at 125 before. I might be wrong. He's huge for 125 though. 5'9", bloody hell. Anyway, Nicolau is from Brazil. He's a BJJ black belt, obviously, because he's from Brazil. He's got good hands. He's looked good against Schnell last time out, and he beat Manel Kape as well. And Manel Kape is someone that I rate very highly. So going on strength of opposition, well-roundedness, I like Nicolau here. Plus, he is from Brazil with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so it's worth more because he's from Brazil. So I'll take him by submission. What the hell? Bill Algeo versus TJ Brown in the featherweight division. 6 foot, plays 5'9", with a 1-inch reach for Algeo. Now, Algeo was the fella who beat up Gilbert Burns' brother so badly that they had to carry him out, I believe. And then he lost to Loughnane, who's the current PFL champ. Algeo is just well-rounded, good striking, BJJ black belt as well. A lot of BJJ black belts on this card in general. There's a lot of them on this one. Now, TJ is another BJJ black belt, another one, and we've seen his MMA grappling is pretty good. He got a head and arm choke over Eric Silva in 2022, and he does have a head kick knockout on his record as well, so he's got some decent striking. But for me, Algeo is the larger guy. He's probably slightly more well-rounded. I'm taking the decision for Algeo there. So, before we get into the main card, that was all the prelims. I would just like to say, look, if you are enjoying this, please do me a favour, hit subscribe. It costs nothing and it helps me out massively, so just hit subscribe. Thank you. Don't think, hit subscribe. The main card kicks off with Pedro Munoz against Chris Gutierrez. Now, that's an interesting fight, the bantamweight division. 5'6", plays 5'9", 2.5-inch reach for Gutierrez. Now, Munoz I like because he combines judo and BJJ, and as you know, if you have that combination, you're generally hard as nails. But he does tend to get outworked by really good strikers, with your Aldos and Dominic Cruz. Both had their way with him really to take the decisions. Pedro wasn't really able to implement his game at all, which is a problem because Gutierrez is a Factory X guy from Boston. Now, he's got a BJJ purple belt, but he ain't playing that game with Munoz. That's just not the smart way to fight him. His strengths are his stand-up. He's got deadly leg kicks and he spins and he hits knees very, very well. He's very dangerous on the feet. And for me, I think that's what we see happen here. I think Munoz is going to get overwhelmed on the feet again. Leg kicks will play a big part of it. Decision for Gutierrez for me. Tanner Boser, the Canadian, taking on Ion Cutelaba from Moldova. Got the 205-pound light heavyweight division. 6'2", plays 6'1" with a half-inch reach for Boser. Now, Boser, he's a big cat. He used to fight heavyweight, and now he cuts to 205. Now, he isn't the most impressive, but he has deceptively good hands, as a few people like Ovin St. Preux have found out over the course of their careers. Now, Ion Cutelaba, he's frustrating. He's just all-out aggression and power. He's so scary. He throws everything until he's got absolutely nothing left, which is usually around the 40-second mark of the first round. So Boser being a big puncher, Ion leaves openings. I think that he tags Ion shortly after Ion Cutelaba runs out of gas around the 40-second mark of the very first round, and Tanner Boser to get the knockout in that one. Dustin Jacoby taking on Azamat Murzakanov in the 205 light heavyweight division. You've got 6'3", playing 5'10", with a 4.5-inch reach for Jacoby. Now, Jacoby's a kickboxer. He fought in Glory. He's now put together an okay MMA record. He mixes up the targets well: leg, head, body. You know, he's very well rounded on the feet. 11 of 18 wins by knockout. He's got a decent record there. Now, Murzakanov he's a Russian kickboxer. 12 wins, no losses, 9 knockouts. He's had 2 UFC fights, and both of them were third round knockouts, which is impressive. Now, you have to go with the undefeated Russian destroyer here. I wish Jacoby all the best, but I do think he might be up against it. Edson Barbosa versus Billy Quarantillo in the featherweight division. 5'11", plays 5'9", with a 5-inch reach for Barbosa. That's a big old reach advantage. Now, Edson, he's an MMA legend at this point. We all know who he is. He is one of the highest level kickboxers we've ever seen in the sport, but he does struggle against the grapplers there. The blueprint for beating Barbosa has been written. Just avoid the big kicks and the big punches. Don't let him get a rhythm going. Don't let him start beating the crap out of you, because you'll see, because what he did to Dan Hooker, you'll see that kind of result. But if you can grab a hold of him and make him tired, then he's putty in your hands, really. Quarantillo is very good. He's well-rounded. Since being in the UFC, all of his wins are finishes, and he's only lost twice. He's a BJJ black belt, another one on this card. Blimey. 5 submissions in MMA as well, and I think that's where we see this one go. As much as I want to see Barbosa get another highlight reel knockout and turn back the clock, I think the blueprint to beat Edson Barbosa has been written. I don't think his takedown defense is quite good enough. I think that Quarantillo has very high level jiu-jitsu. I think that's what we see him. I see grappling. I see him wearing him out. Maybe submission as well, because Quarantillo is a finisher, as I mentioned. And then we have the main event. But first, I just want to remind you, please, if you like this content, hit subscribe. It costs nothing, means the world to me. Don't think, hit subscribe. Main event, Max Holloway taking on Arnold Allen. 5'11", plays 5'8", with a 1-inch reach for Allen. Now, Max, we all know him, is the former 145-pound champion, one of the best to ever do it. He lost 3 times to Volkanovski, but everyone else in the division he has beaten, because he's just that good. He's head and shoulders above everyone that isn't named Volkanovski, or at least that's what seems to be. Now, Arnold Allen, he's a UK fighter who's been quietly working his way up until he knocked out Dan Hooker. That put his name on the map. He then fought Kelvin Kattar, and he was looking really good until Kattar's knee gave out. But I think that Allen was getting the better of that fight anyway, but who knows, because it was ended by an injury. His stand-up is really slick. He does the basics very, very well, but his defense is so tight as well. He's able to really put damage on without taking too much damage himself, because his defense is very, very impressive. He's just an impressive all-round fighter. He really is. He's athletic. He's got great stand-up. He's got very strong grappling. He seems to be really solid wherever the fight goes. I'm a very big fan of Arnold Allen. I really am. Now, obviously, Max has to be the favourite here. He has to be, because he is elite. He's levels above everyone that's not named Volkanovski. But it's a tough one to call, because Arnold Allen, he doesn't seem to have anywhere that he's particularly weak. There isn't a weakness for Max to exploit. Now, I don't know. I just don't know. This is just a huge fight, and neither man really has the advantage on paper. And that's interesting for me, because who knows where this is going to go? Now, one thing I would say is that maybe, in terms of the bright lights, the pressure of the big fight, Max Holloway is far more used to it. For Max Holloway, this is another Saturday night, right? Arnold Allen is fighting one of the consensus greatest featherweights of all time. For Max Holloway, this is just another Saturday night. That may factor into it. But for me, oh no, Allen has momentum on his side. And momentum is a real thing. I'm also English. I'm heavily biased. I'm going to be picking Allen. But who knows in that one? It's a coin toss. That being said, Holloway's not lost to anyone named Volk in a long time. But that's all I've got time for on this one. If you want to go and chat, I'm going to be breaking these down, like recapping them next week at some point. And if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe and all that good stuff. But until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible. Thank you for watching.